Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
Good evening, everyone. As the majority of Tasmanians band together in the face of this coronavirus crisis, there's a new low from those who threaten to derail our best efforts. Revelations have come to light. Protective gear from our frontline health workers has been raided by thieves. Police condemning the actions and warning harsh penalties will apply.
Equipped with masks, glasses and gowns, medical professionals putting their own health on the line in the fight against coronavirus. But despite international shortages of critical protective gear, PPE is being stolen from Tasmania's hospitals.
I cannot understand why people would actually do that. Let's use those resources to assist our healthcare workers, again, to be able to help you.
The hospital, quite rightly, has locked up the supplies. To have people stealing these essential supplies is just, well, to be frank, appalling.
The police chief warning he will be investigating with serious consequences for those found guilty.
These are valuable resources. We do not want to have to divert our resources to investigate these thefts, but if they're reported to us, of course we'll investigate the thefts.
Our healthcare workers are working on the front line to support Tasmanians, and if we hear or find any cases of these, we will ensure that the full force of the law is brought upon those people.
It comes as the Premier gets ready to move to stage 2 of restrictions, escalating at midnight.
Stricter enforcement of border restrictions, more aggressive contact tracing and tracking, a hard line on self-isolation and the management of positive cases.
Police officers will be going around checking on those people who are in self-isolation. We'll be doing random checks to not only check on them, to make sure they're okay and need any assistance, to make sure they're doing the right thing.
For all non-essential travellers into Tasmania arriving by air or by sea, they have to go directly home or into government-provided accommodation.
We'll provide some basic essential supplies at the airport and ferry ports. And we will ensure that there is support available for services to be delivered if they do not have a relative or friend who can deliver supplies to their door.
Authorities say we haven't had any serious cases of coronavirus yet, but they are working to shore up our supply of ventilators if the situation gets worse. We currently have 50 across the state, but demand is expected to rise.
We'd be looking to triple our supply, but we are conscious that there are challenges with supply lines, so what we are doing is making sure that through every mechanism possible, we are seeking to bolster our supplies here in Tasmania.
Overnight, Tasmanian cases rose to 36, but still no confirmed community transmissions. One of the new cases, a person who travelled on the Carnival Spirit cruise ship, the first one reported on board.
Any Tasmanian who has been unwell since getting off that vessel just under 2 weeks ago, I urge them to call the public health hotline urgently so we can assess your symptoms and arrange for testing.
Tasmania's Parliament today debated new laws to allow the emergency coronavirus response to be rolled out immediately. Michelle WISBEY, 7 Tasmania News.
As the debate over whether to close schools continues, Term 1 in Tasmania will be finishing early to help teachers prepare for the coming months and to avoid a local outbreak. Several private schools have already moved their learning online, with calls for other institutions to follow suit.
The coronavirus crisis, leaving teachers worried within their classroom.
Teachers are anxious and they're stressed. They're confused about the safety conditions that are being outlined by the Prime Minister and the Premier in regards to students being safe at schools.
To ease pressure, parents can now keep children at home through supported learning. The government also bringing the Easter holidays forward, with 4 extra student-free days starting April 6.
To enable schools and teachers to complete the professional learning required to finalise the delivery of a home and online model from the beginning of the new term post the holidays.
The Education Union welcoming the move, but calling for holidays to begin even earlier.
It's a week too late. We want our schools to go student-free from next Monday. We can't wait another week.
It comes as some independent schools shift to online and take-home learning while offering supervised education on campus, including at St Michael's Collegiate, Hutchins, Scotch Oakburn College and Friends.
Look, we hope it provides some comfort and well-being. I know that there's a lot of anxiety. but we're trying to make it age appropriate and make it accessible for students to be able to continue educational process at home.
And some teachers, for example, are calling it two jobs now, that the kids at home trying to provide for them, kids at school trying to provide for them. It's becoming more and more hard. So the idea of having planning for what that's going to look like is really, really crucial.
At TAFE, Drysdale Restaurant and Hair and Beauty salons were suspended on Monday. Staff now looking to adopt online learning and for traineeships and apprentice classes to be rescheduled.
Our students are transient, they're in and off campus all the time. They're at high risk if the virus does get out in the general community of spreading that back through the campuses and then into other workplaces, which will cause those workplaces to have to close down.
Schools are set to open for Term 2 on April 27. Ruby COMMANE, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian couple who feared they'd be trapped and homeless in South Africa amid the coronavirus shutdowns is returning home. Leanne Matthews and Tom Tully from Margate were two of more than 100 Australians scrambling to fit onto the last booked-out Qantas flight into the country, rushing to leave Cape Town before South Africa goes into lockdown tomorrow. But the couple shared the good news this morning and, along with some fellow travellers, they're now on their way back to Tasmania, saying their thoughts are with the many Australians still stranded overseas. Help is on the way for tenants struggling to pay rent, with new emergency laws introduced to assist in the shutdown. Our reporter Ruby COMMANE joins us live now to explain these new measures. Hi Ruby, what relief is on the way for renters?
Pete, as so many Tasmanians continue to struggle through this crisis, these new rules will mean tenants cannot be evicted if they're unable to pay their rent for an initial 120 days. These emergency measures will provide a buffer for renters, especially those who have lost their income as part of the coronavirus shutdowns. Now, these laws do include an incentive for tenants to keep paying their rent when they can. They just essentially say you can't be kicked out if you miss payments for the next 4 months. The new rules also mean only urgent or emergency repairs can be undertaken in properties to comply with social distancing requirements. And we're also expecting additional announcements around new regulations for commercial leases. Pete, these new laws are part of a long list of emergency provisions debated in the Parliament throughout today.
Shopping centres, beauty parlours and hairdressers are among the latest social hotspots to take a hit in the wake of the government's most recent crackdown on non-essential gatherings. The strict new conditions has left many preparing for the worst.
It was the news Anne Talbot had feared.
I'm feeling a little apprehensive. I'm feeling upset.
From tomorrow, her busy beauty parlour will be closed as coronavirus containment responses are scaled up.
As far as treatments go, where we're face-to-face, we will not be able to do any of those.
Staff forced to take leave for the uncertain weeks ahead. Hairdressers like the Terrace have been spared a complete cut, remaining open under the strict condition hair appointments are completed within 30 minutes. Almost impossible, say staff.
The majority of our appointments are scheduled at 45 minutes. Colour work is about 2.5 hours on an average.
Therefore, at the stroke of midnight, the sounds of the salon will fall silent for good.
Our salon will be shutting down basically.
Tattoo parlours and shopping centre food courts have also been blacklisted by the government. However, retail stores in large shopping hubs like Hobart's Eastlands and Westgate will survive for now. In Launceston, the Chamber of Commerce and the Council have joined forces for a new campaign to help struggling businesses.
Really drive that message that if you're going to spend $1, make sure you spend it locally and keep it in local business.
Many staying afloat by offering takeaway or online orders.
Jump online and find out what these people are doing. Their only way of communicating at the moment is online.
Businesses now locked in a waiting game until the pandemic storm blows over.
One day it'll all be gone and we'll all be as busier than ever.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
2 people have been taken to hospital in a critical condition after their car crashed into a tree near Hobart this morning. Police are continuing their investigations tonight after the crash partially shut down the busy Tasman highway for around 5 hours.
A crippled car sits against a tree on a usually busy highway. Emergency services on the scene of a single car crash near Mornington this morning. Police say the red Holden Cruise sedan crashed into the tree on the Tasman highway shortly after 7 a.m.
A couple of off-duty police officers stopped at the scene to render assistance.
and found that this was a serious crash.
Finding both occupants of the vehicle trapped inside. The driver, a 21-year-old man from Acton Park, and his passenger, a 19-year-old woman from Warrane, taken to the Royal Hobart Hospital in a critical condition.
There was significant damage to the vehicle that required the services of the Tasmanian Fire Service to help get them out of the vehicle. And of course the paramedics attended and were able to offer first aid and life-saving support.
The Tasman Highway was closed to city-bound traffic as emergency crews responded to the crash, cleared the scene and investigated.
Whilst it's still under investigation by our crash investigation services, it would appear that one of the contributing factors was indeed speed. So I'd implore all motorists to take heed and be careful on the roads.
Anybody with information or dashcam footage involving the car earlier this morning is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
There's some relief tonight for the state's emergency services, with Tasmania's summer bushfire season officially coming to an end after an early start in November. Fire permits are no longer required from 2 a.m. tomorrow, with the public now encouraged to conduct registered burns during autumn.
Go out and enhance our safety by conducting burns. We're interested in making sure that people are safe. Fundamentally, if we remove the fuel, we remove the hazard.
The Tasmania Fire Service says more than 1,400 bushfires broke out across the state this past season. Wedding bells might have stopped ringing, with couples postponing their special day after new restrictions on public gatherings came into effect, and one Tasmanian celebrant has seen a rush of cancellations.
Dee Potter has formed a personal and professional bond with countless couples. She was one of the country's first civil marriage celebrants, appointed in 1974. She's never seen a situation like this.
When you have brides crying on the phone, I mean, things are pretty devastating, aren't they?
New rules now limit weddings to just 5 people, leading to a flood of cancellations. At its worst, Ms Potter had 7 couples pull the pin in the space of 24 hours. To help heartbroken brides and grooms, she's offering to preside over weddings now before conducting another ceremony once restrictions have been lifted, free of charge.
People have been together for years and this has been their big thing to look forward to, and all of a sudden it's not going to be anymore.
Georgia Curtis is one bride-to-be who won't be just yet. Due to wed in May, she's postponing her special day so family can come along.
It is a little bit disheartening and a little bit stressful, but we'll have our time and it'll be lovely. Yeah, I'll be really excited to get married.
From the start of a happy life to the end of it, funeral services are also affected. They're now limited to just 10 people, leading some to consider other options.
More and more people are choosing not to gather for a funeral service but doing a direct cremation. What that allows the family to do is do something together at their own time in their own way and not relying on a public gathering or other people needing to be involved.
For those still wanting a funeral service, Andrew Dean has a solution. He's streaming proceedings online.
We are obviously doing that in consultation with family if they wish that, but it allows people who can't be there to still take part in the service as such.
The only certainty in life, facing its most uncertain times. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Now we have some breaking news right now, and 6 more cases of coronavirus have been confirmed in Tasmania. 3 cases are from the state's north, 2 from the south and 1 from the northwest. Now 2 of these patients have recently travelled on cruise ships. Another is a close contact of a previously confirmed case. The remaining cases are recently returned travellers. Public Health says there's no evidence still of community transmission in Tasmania. Some good news for a Tasmanian business now. A local shipbuilder is set to construct a new high-speed ferry to operate in South Korea. Incat Tasmania receiving an order from SeaWorld Express to build a 76-metre catamaran carrying up to 700 passengers and 79 cars. Incat says it shows confidence in future trade amid the current crisis. The shipbuilder says its large facility and extra monitoring will ensure workers are adequately spaced according to current government guidelines. The AURORA Australis has returned to Hobart for the last time after successfully completing its final mission southwards. It comes as the Antarctic Division is finalising its temporary replacement before the new icebreaker, the Norina, is ready to take to the water early next year.
Moored at Macquarie Wharf for the final time, retiring after 30 years of service. The AURORA Australis has returned from one last voyage.
She's much more than just a ship. She's been a lifeline, she's been a home, she's been a symbol that really captures that whole Antarctic spirit.
The icebreaker has served Australia's Antarctic research efforts for 3 decades, having plenty of adventures during that time. GERRY O'Doherty has worked on the ship for more than 20 of those years. His stand-up moment occurred on New Year's Eve 1999.
To be parked up at the Amery ice shelf at midnight at the turn of the millennium, and we had a party on the ice basically, joined by penguins and music, and it was a very romantic occasion.
With the delivery of the Aurora's replacement, the Noyena, delayed until next year, the search is almost over for a temporary replacement to continue aiding vital scientific research operations.
So we've gone out to the international market looking for a ship. We have found some terrific ships, and we're in the final stage of negotiation now.
Some good news for the future of our Antarctic program. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's real estate agents are upbeat about adapting to COVID-19 bans on auctions and open homes. Some properties are being withdrawn from sale, but the crisis still hasn't dented booming house prices.
We're facing the worst economic crisis in generations. It seems Tassie's housing market didn't see the memo.
At $1,070,000 now. First time of calling, second time of calling, third, all done. I'm selling, sold. Congratulations.
On Saturday, a Launceston crowd gathered to watch this $1 million house go under the hammer, with open homes and auctions now added to a growing list of COVID-19 bans. Agents say sale methods will change.
Conduct virtual inspections, walkthroughs, all the technologies available.
Prices might not.
I can't see prices going down because I think people look long term.
But buyers will likely find less to choose from.
There's even reports that people who do have their homes on the market to sell, they're actually withdrawing them from the market to effectively just wait for some stability.
Views echoed by the boss of one of the country's biggest sale sites.
The outlook going forward is, we will see some buyers drop out of the market, particularly those who have either lost a job or are not feeling secure about their jobs.
An interest rate drop and a pledge by banks to be more flexible with mortgages could also help confidence. Meanwhile, the REIT says 200 Airbnbs have been listed in the rental market in the past 3 days.
That is a positive for the rental side of the industry.
A positive badly needed in uncertain times. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, the Cricket Tasmania Premier League has awarded its highest individual honours. The Kim FAZACKERLEY medal was shared between Clarence's Emma Thompson and Newtown's Emily Mifsud, while batsman Trent Keep of Kingborough claimed the Emerson Rodwell medal after averaging 77 runs over the season.
We all know how good of a player Emerson was himself, so I'm really humbled by it.
You go out there and you just want to do the best for your team, but then if you get some really good individual performances, it's obviously nice to get rewarded at the end of the season.
To actually get the win, I guess, for a couple of years being close was still a really great surprise and really exciting.
After an early end to the season, Lindisfarne was crowned champion in the men's league, while Clarence won the women's competition.
Good evening. Temperatures today were mostly slightly below average. Hobart and Burnie 20, Launceston recorded 18 degrees, while Devonport's 21 was the state's high. Friendly Beaches and Cressy 20, Ouse Grove and St Helens 19, Flinders Island along with Low Head 18, King Island 17 and Lyweenie just 12 after recording our low of 0. Cloudy conditions over the west and far south, partly cloudy for the rest of the state. The northeast had the clearer skies. Low level cloud is located to our west over the Bight. High cloud is hanging around coastal New South Wales, the west coast of WA and the far north of the country. Tomorrow's chart shows a high moving over Tasmania and dominating the weather over the southeast of the nation. Elsewhere, surface troughs are the primary feature. Winds turning westerly at 10 to 15 knots over the south, variable over the east and west, but more easterly to 20 knots over northern waters. Swells to 3 metres. And there is a frost warning current for parts of the the upper Derwent Valley and parts of the southeast district south of Hobart. Now to the forecast. Hobart and Cygnet 18, 20 for New Norfolk. Launceston 20 degrees, Devonport 17 and sunny and 19 for Campbelltown. Burnie possible light showers 17, 17 also for Strawn, 19 at Smithton. St Helens 17, Swansea 18 and sunny and Fingal 19 and sunny. UV moderate 5s across the state. On Friday, fine apart from late showers over the north. Light showers over the north again to start the weekend, but fine elsewhere. And on Sunday, showers developing over the west and north in the early afternoon before extending across the state by the evening. Now to the capital cities, sunny and 21 for Melbourne, partly cloudy for Canberra, Brisbane, Broome, Alice Springs and Adelaide, with a possible storm, and 34 for Darwin. And it's currently 13 in Hobart, mostly cloudy, Launceston 19 and mostly sunny, and Devonport sunny as well. And Murph, it's a rare moment joining you in the studio. Thanks for having me.
Well, Letitia, I hope you've enjoyed being had. But actually, thanks for bringing some brightness to our bulletin this evening. That's all for now. We'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.